So if you've got a rainwater harvesting tank or backup water storage tank like this one, and it is connected to a pressure pump, a pump controller, and then the water is being pumped into your house, this is a quick little tip for when you are using this flexible hose. Now this is actually suction hose, but when it comes to connecting flexible rubber hose onto the likes of what we have here is PEX pipe, or this is multi-layer pipe. So you're trying to connect a rubber hose onto basically a nylon fitting, which is what they've got here, and then that nylon fitting connects onto a brass fitting, which then connects onto the multi-layer pipe. If you need to do this, there is let's say a better and a worse method in which way, in which it can be done. And I would say that this is probably one of the worst methods. There is a better way to do this. Now what I mean by that is, if you have a close look here, you can see that there's basically a compression fitting to a male threaded adapter, and that male thread goes into this female nylon section or elbow here. So that does work occasionally, but sometimes they don't last very long. If you over tighten it, it can strip out the threads. It can also crack the plastic or the nylon. A better way to do it is to have it working the opposite way around. So something like a brass adapter, this is basically the opposite thing. So we've got a compression adapter on the top. The compression adapter will connect to the multi-layer pipe, and then we've got a female end over here. And it's better to have the brass or female side going onto a PVC or a nylon male adapter. In this case, basically I've just got a few fittings here. So I've got a pipe, this is a separate pipe nipple. There we go, that's a separate pipe nipple, and that's going to go into a PVC elbow, and then of course we've got a PVC barbed end here, which will connect onto the flexible hose. So effectively this is a nice example where you could just use the worst way to do it is to connect this male thread into that female thread on the PVC, but as I said, that sometimes strips out, so it's better just to actually put a pipe nipple in there, and then you use the female brass fitting over the plastic. And you also do have to be careful, you don't want to over tighten this, but it's a much stronger way of doing it. Now of course we do still need some PTFE tape on here to seal it up, and that should last a lot longer. Another option, you can also use what this thing's called a wall plate. So sometimes when you have like an external tap and it's mounted to the wall, it could be mounted to the wall over there, and then your bip tap screws in here, and then your water supply comes in the top. So you just basically use one of these fittings, and that will also this compression fitting joins onto the multi-layer pipe on the top there, and then you can just get a barbed end with a male thread there, and then that screws in. Now this is actually, what is it, 3/4 I think, or 20 millimeters, and that'll basically just screw into there, of course with PTFE tape, and that will be an even stronger joint. So it just depends on what you want to use in your various scenarios, but this is the better way to go about it. So before I get started, in this specific case, which one am I going to choose? Well, because we've already got a PVC elbow over there, I'm going to go for the PVC elbow over here, so that in this case everything matches. Now if you don't want to use a copper fitting, there is a third option available, and that's to use something like this. This is a plastic fitting, very strong plastic. It's made by a company called Unitwist here in South Africa. Maybe you get other variations of it around the world, but in South Africa, like I said, it's made by Unitwist, and they make a whole lot of these different fittings, but in our case this is the one that we're looking for, where it's got a compression style adapter on the one leg of the elbow, and then on the other leg it's got a 3/4 inch female threaded fitting. So in order to connect our rubber or our suction hose, we of course need a barb with a 3/4 inch male thread, and then that'll just thread in. Of course we do use PTFE tape here. We screw that in, and that'll also provide you with a nice strong and reliable connection. And you can connect this compression end onto either copper pipe, multi-layer PEX pipe, even the plastic pipe that is supplied by Unitwist itself, of course. And what it's got inside here is basically an O-ring seal, and then it's got like a shark bite style fitting that grabs onto the pipe. And this also works really well. So that's pretty much it. It should be good to go, but of course we do need to test it. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the tank on the or the valve on the tank is already open. I've just opened that, and I could actually see the water starting to run through this pipe. And we'll go ahead and turn the pump on and hope for the best. Now, there is a leak. I don't know if you can see my hands are wet there. However, it's not coming from this section that's just been repaired. It's actually coming from further up. You can actually see the pipe here. It's wet and it's busy dripping from up there. So, of course, this wasn't part of the original job, but, you know, good workmanship. We'll just take that apart and maybe it just needs to be nipped up. We'll check and fix that little leak, and then everything should be good to go. So we're back. The leak has now been fixed. I just needed to tighten up that fitting, and the system has been pressurized to 5 bars, and I've had a look every couple of minutes to check here, and there are no leaks, which is very good. I also did notice there was one, not really a leak, but a little droplet underneath here where the suction hose joins onto the barb. And I had another look at the hose clamp. The original hose clamp that was here did look fine, but you know what, I thought, you know, it's going to cost me a lot of money just to come back here if this does fail in a couple of days. So I went back to the truck, just got another 2 brand new hose clamps. I stuck 2 hose clamps on there just for a little bit of cheap insurance, if you will, and a bit of peace of mind, and it's not leaking at all. So that is something also to keep in mind when you are doing these repairs. These little items aren't super expensive, so just go ahead and put new ones on if you are a little bit doubtful. Hopefully that has helped you out. If it is something that you're going to do, and if you're going to use these suction style flexible hoses to connect your pump into the rest of your house. And if you did like the video, then please give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about this type of arrangement. Maybe you've tried this before and it has or hasn't worked for you. Let us know in the comments, and then maybe, you know, you can pass on some tips and tricks and the things that you've learned over time, and it eventually helps somebody else out. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.